Witchers, welcome back to the Witcher Lorecast. This is your host, Tom, or Robots, and I'm here with my best Witcher companion in the entire world, Toasty of... I'm not even going to even pronounce it this time. Toasty, welcome back to the show, buddy. How you doing?
All right.
I mean, I think that was a slightly better than usual all right, and I think I know why. It's because of the news that we got. Should we talk about the news right at the beginning, or are we going to wait till the end and tease everybody? Okay, we're going to wait till the end to tease everybody.
Because we've teased them with the information of the fact that we're going to talk about the news, and now they have to listen to the whole thing if they want to hear it. Because we don't timestamp this. You don't know when we're going to talk about it.
You don't know. It's going to happen.
So you just have to listen to the whole episode.
It's gonna happen later. Know. Chances are you've probably already heard the news by the time this comes out. But if you have not heard the news, and we're talking the news, and if you know, you know, then definitely hang out till the end. But welcome back, everybody. We're talking this episode about monsters again. This is a monster episode. And I'm excited because it's been a while. I mean, last week was kind of a monster episode, but this week is a monster episode. We're going back to the good old days before season 2 swooped in and interrupted us with a bunch of TV show episodes. We're talking monsters again, Toasty.
How dare season 2 swoop in and be so damn good that we had to talk about it.
What the heck, season 2? Why you gotta throw a TV show in the works?
Oh, God.
What are you doing? Actually, season 1 and season 2, we recapped the entire thing, and then now we're back. But so Toasty, what are we talking about?
Talk about Fiends and Chorts.
Fiends and Chorts. And wait,
Chorts.
Fiends and Jorts?
Chorts.
Your friends shouldn't wear jorts. That's what we're talking about?
That's true.
That is also true.
I bet you wear jorts, don't you, Tom?
Don't even know what a jort is.
It's just jean shorts.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yes, I was wearing jorts today, but they were the cool kind of jorts, the kind that you would wear if you were like in a like a Northern European metal band.
That's very specific, and I have no window of reference for that.
All right, moving on. Yeah. So, hey, yeah, Fiends and Chorts, Chorts, Chorts.
Yep. Chorts.
Chorts. All right. So, okay. So first I have to ask, what is it? What is a chort? For anybody who doesn't know, what's a chort?
Well, I linked the picture here if you want to show for people who are on the live feed. We got chorts. They are large, approximately house-sized or barn-sized monsters of the relict variety that I would say they resemble kind of like goat-like humanoids. Mm-hmm. Very goatish. They got like ram horns, kind of.
Yeah. Here's one. Here, look at this big old boy. Oh, he's like right in front of my face on the screen. If you're watching live or watching the video version on our YouTube, which is Witcher Lorecast on YouTube. Look at that. Yeah, he's kind of like a big goat with an eye in the middle of his forehead.
Yeah. Freaky stuff. Chorts. Almost said jorts. Dear God.
Can we just call him jorts?
No, we can't.
Maybe this one's name is Jort, the Chort.
No. Chorts are incredibly fast and strong, rivaled only by fiends among relics. They use their arms to pummel, claw, and smash their prey, as well as charge their victims head first with barely controlled speed.
Okay, so you mentioned relicts.
Relics, yes.
And these aren't relics; these are relicts, like CTS. Relicts. So what? Okay, so do we need to back up and explain what a relict is?
Do we need to?
Do we need to? Like, what is like? I know that this comes from the video games, right? Mm-hmm. Like these are classifications of types of monsters, and
yes. So
what was that? Do you?
That was my echo. I don't know why I did that. So
okay.
What the heck was that? That threw me off. I was like, where'd that come from? Okay. Yeah. So it's kind of it's like a classification. Mm-hmm. Relics are typically like these kind of like more It's hard to do. Like they're like longer lived kind of beings. Like, trying to think how to describe them exactly.
Right. So when we're looking at like Chorts and Fiends, they're very animal-like. We're not talking like ghost-like beings. We're not talking vampires. We're not talking things that were cursed. We're not talking humans that were turned into something else. Right. These are creatures. These are not undead. These are creatures that were. They're almost like animals that just look weird. I mean, when you're looking at the pictures, when we're looking at a Chort here, I'm gonna put them back up on the screen. Like it is very, very animalistic. It looks like a much stronger, more powerful goat with kind of big teeth and a very muscly frame, but it looks very aggressive. It almost looks like a mutated beast. And the same kind of thing for a fiend. Like if you look at the fiend here, and I'll pull this up on the screen too, because we're going to talk about the fiend.
They're very similar. It's just the fiend has a more like deer-like appearance,
right,
as opposed to the goat. Like it has deer antlers, as opposed to a goat. A goat's like horns. Right.
But it also has that eye in the center of its head. It's missing fur on certain parts of its body, but like it has kind of a mane, and then it has fur on its like elbows, and then on its lower part of its abdomen, kind of covering where its privates would be. But they both have this kind of animalistic appearance with very like strong musculature, claws, teeth, horns, those kinds of things. But they definitely are very different from some of the monsters that we've talked about.
So specifically the term relicts, which it does actually relate to relic, like an old thing, is that relicts are a type of monster that were in abundance a long time ago, but are very like rare to see, which, makes sense. The Witcher 3, you don't come across a lot of these things. Like you fight a very like few of them, as opposed to you fight like a million ghouls in The Witcher 3, right? Mm-hmm. Or like a large amount of these other ones that are really around, but you have to like go searching for specifically like fiends and Chorts. I think Leshens are included in that. Godlings. I mean, you meet like 2 in the whole game, I'm fairly certain. Like things like that. They're very like a rare species from like a time long ago, kind of.
Yeah.
Like
do you think that's because they've been kind of hunted like to extinction?
It's also probably possible that it's they're not really like we talked about the Leshen before. Mm-hmm. It can't like reproduce.
Yeah.
Like that was part of the discussions that they even showed that in like, they kind of mentioned that in like The Witcher season 2, where they can't like really reproduce themselves. So like once they're dead, it's just one less than there was before.
Right.
So it could be the same, like similar situation amongst like fiends and Chorts, where they don't, they can't like reproduce as easily or at all.
Right. So limited reproduction, kind of being hunted to death after generations of Witchers, and humankind kind of, moving into the places in the world that they've kind of lived, kind of moving them out of their own.
And like, as we talk more about these, like we realize that they're like incredibly strong, powerful. Like if they show up, they're a problem. So like you kind of have to take care of them, or else they're like a big problem. Like a few ghouls come in and rob some graves. It's like, whatever. But like right. These things come in and they're the size of houses. So with like horns, they're just going to wreck everything. They could run through an entire village.
Yeah. So the village puts their money together. They get a Witcher, they deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mentioned, that, basically they, if you end up in a situation where you have to fight a Chort. Mm-hmm. First of all, good luck. Second of all, you need to use their size and speed against them, bait them into charging you, and then get out of the way, let them run into whatever they're doing, because they don't control their speed very well. They're going to ram headfirst into something, maybe like a cave or a big mountain or something, discombobulate themselves, and then just go at them, stab them in the flank.
So you're saying they're like big dumb bulls.
Yeah, essentially,
you kind of like bullfight them.
Yes, it's that once you whip that red tapestry out of the way and it runs into the wall, then you start hacking at it with your sword. Okay,
right.
And then you can also use Devil's Puffball to poison it, and even set that poison on fire and burn it. So to a little bit of like chipping damage on it, so that you can let yourself kind of stay out of the way for a bit and let it kind of slowly take care of itself.
Yeah, man. Why not let the fire do the work for you?
Exactly. So next, because there's not a whole lot really, we got Fiends, very similar in a lot of ways, but they are larger, angrier, and more ferocious than Chorts are. And the key deadly difference for the Fiend is their third eye, which is funny because the Chort also, but the Fiend is the one that actually makes use of it. It can lure victims into a state of hypnosis where all they see is the third eye glowing in the darkness. If you're inexperienced, you're probably going to die. But of course, Witchers know that if you track the eye's movement, that'll let you know when the proper time for evading them is, because
that's where they are. The eye is still connected. It's not an illusion. It's
center of their forehead. Yeah.
Right. That's actually where they are. Okay. Yeah.
You can interrupt the hypnosis effect by signs, not swords. You can use a Samum Bomb to permanently disable the Fiend's third eye, so that you can't get hypnotized. I almost said hypnosist.
Well, you don't want either of those things, I guess.
I don't want either of those. It also has a limited range that you can either avoid by like getting out of range or ducking to the side, because the eye actually has to see you in order to hypnotize you. So if you're out of its line of sight, it cannot hypnotize you. And then setting a burn or using Devil's Puffball for poison helps, similar to the Chort. And you can also drink an enhanced or superior cat to grant full immunity to the eye effect and render it useless.
Nice. So this is definitely something that if you're out on the path, you're a Witcher, you're hunting this thing down, you're going to know, like bring your potions, make sure you got your Igni and your bombs. Like that's the stuff you're readying for this fight.
Be prepped, like for every good monster fight.
Right.
Prepare yourself.
Right. But these are the things that you would know. Like bring your cat potion. Bring your bombs. Make sure you got some fire on you, and if that stuff fails, follow the eye and gouge it out if you get a chance.
Yeah. Follow the eye and ideally stay out of the way of it.
Yeah.
But also, don't think just because you get out of range that it's rendered useless. It will charge you just like the Chort. And at closer range, it will use sweeping claw and horn attacks. So be careful. It also has immunity to Ard. So don't use Ard. Use Igni. Set it on fire. But like the Chort, it's also can't really defend its flank. So stab at it in the butt. That's the key.
That's my go-to.
These things in the butt.
That's my go-to. I think everything's weak point is its butt.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. You don't really do... I mean, unless it has a tail. Well, I feel like...
Stab it in the tail and they'll cut the tail off and then stab it in the butt.
That's fair. And both the Fiend and Chort are vulnerable to Relic Oil and Devil's Puffball.
There you go.
Devil's Puffball, like you said before, and Relic Oil, because that's the type of monster it is.
There you go. That's why they make the Relic Oil.
Relict. Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
You don't really put an emphasis on the T there.
Relict.
Relict.
Yeah,
Relicts.
there's not a whole lot of words in English that have a C and a T next to each other. I can't think
of
many. Can you think of many words with a C and a T? If you can think of words with C and T next to each other like that, let us know.
Actually, cataract. I don't know.
Cataract.
Those are two.
Yeah. We're going to get a whole bunch of them all of a sudden.
Although I do say cataract, to be fair.
Right.
I would say cataract.
Yeah. Derelict.
If it's a theme.
Derelict.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah. Well, so now that we turn this into grammar of the podcast, Benedict Cumberbatch.
That is fair.
Defunct. There you go.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Okay. All right. There we go. Cool. All right. Well, tell you what, why don't we take a quick break? Because we've got some real world folklore and then we've got the news to discuss. So we'll be right back.
Very well. Let us get this over with. Something has infested my vineyard.
Mm-hmm. Great. Let me go prepare my something oil then.
This will be a real quick middle of the show break because we don't have any new reviews to read out and we don't actually have any new patrons, but we do have some patrons to thank for being here. All 14 of our patrons, including Ben of Temeria and Bane the Hospitaller. I don't know if I said that right this week either, but thank you to both of them.
We're going to get corrected next week. Let's be honest.
They'll correct us.
They're going to yell at us.
But they are our higher vampires, our tier 5 patrons. So big thank you to both of them for supporting the show. And big reminder, next Monday night, we record these on Monday nights on the Robots Radio channels. So you can join us on Twitch or on YouTube or on Facebook. And that's where everybody's hanging out right now who are in our live chat. Thanks for being here, everybody. I almost said tomorrow. Next Monday, this coming Monday, on the 28th, will be our patron chat. And I have a feeling we'll be discussing our big news, unless they want to discuss something else. But I think that might be our topic. So if you are a tier 4 or higher patron and you'd like to join us, or if you haven't signed up yet and you'd like to join us this coming week to discuss the big news, then feel free to join us. Or sign up. You can head over to patreon.com/Witcher Lorecast in order to do so. You can also sign up and get ad-free episodes. You can get t-shirts. You can get stickers. There's all sorts of awesome stuff, all sorts of things. And we would love your support because this is something that Toasty and I do as just kind of a part of, a thing that we love, but it also helps pay the bills because this is my full-time job. It's part of my full-time job. I do a number of shows and Toasty does this as a side thing along with his job. So we really do appreciate it. So no extra reviews or anything to read out, but if you do take the time to leave us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts, we will read it out on a future episode of the show. And you can also leave us a rating on Spotify if that's where you listen. Both of those are very, very helpful and help people know if this is a show worth listening to. And telling your friends. If you know people who are into The Witcher, then let them know, hey, this is an awesome podcast and they could give it a shot. All right. That's all we got for this middle of the show break. We'll be back in just a second with the rest of the episode. Here we go.
You smell of death and destiny, heroics and heartbreak.
It's onion.
Right, yeah.
Hospitaller. Yeah, I said it once and then I never again. Hey, we're back.
I just make him doubt himself. That's really what I'm doing.
Thanks.
That's my goal.
Thanks. So let's talk real world Chorts. What's the
Chorts?
Jorts. Real world Jorts. What's the source of Jorts?
Jeans that you cut. I think that's like the idea. Mm-hmm. It's usually.
Yeah.
My grandpa's a big fan of jorts.
Grandpa seems like a nice guy. I think
he is. He is a nice guy, actually.
Yeah. Maybe I should hang out with your grandpa.
If you want to.
Cool. All right, so let's talk about mythology.
That was a really awkward tangent.
Man, I love awkward pauses. All right, so mythology, as do so many of the wonderful things in the Witcher universe, there's some sort of mythological core to it. What do we got here?
So what we got here? We got in Slavic mythology, the Chort is said to be a demon of complete evil, horns, hooves, a thin tail, and a pig.
And a pig.
The pig, so pig-like. But it does have horns and hooves, which I can't remember. Let me see this picture. I think the Fiend has big old claws.
Yeah, they've all got claws. Like these.
They got claws.
These images are much more.
What are the back feet? Those back feet are hooves, aren't they?
Are they? Here, let me pull the Chort up again. Yeah, they might be hooves. Here.
Bit hoof-like.
Kind of hoofing. It's hoofing there. Yeah, the back ones might be hooves.
I think the Fiend looks very claw-like all around.
Yeah.
No, I think it actually might have hooves. It's hard to tell.
It is hard to tell
with these pictures.
Yeah, this one is much more goat and much less pig.
Yeah, but he is said to be the offspring of the Slavic goddess Mara and the god Chernobog. We discussed that. This is the child of it. In folklore, his bodily look is equal to that of the Greek god Pan, which I believe Pan is a satyr or something.
Yeah, well, yeah,
he's a very satyr-like appearance.
Yeah, he's got like the goat half on the second half of his body, like the lower half.
Mm-hmm. And in Christian folklore, he is said to be the minion of Satan. Obviously, a lot of dark depictions here for Chorts, which kind of makes sense, I guess. Yeah. Let me do the song. So there's a lot of different, I guess, takes on the word, I guess, because it says it's a Proto-Slavic word, and it's got a bunch of examples of the cur, but I think that's like we've said on the show, we don't know these languages, they're real bad. But there's basically all these different takes on it, kind of gives a hypothesis of it being a god of destiny rather than the perceived bringer of death, and epitome of all evil within the Christian tradition.
Right.
It's like
Satan, that whole thing.
Yeah. So
right.
it's there's a lot of takes on it.
A lot of these myths are so old that there's speculation as to what the actual derivation of the modern version comes from. Mm-hmm. So, like, for example, you have something with horns on its head, right? So, like, is it a reference to a Greek thing with horns on its head or a Christian thing with horns on its head, right? Or, like, the word Chort has CHOR in it. Does that come from a derivative of Kurt, or does that come from a derivative of Kor, or does that, does it come from a language from the Czech region, or does it come from a language from the Turkish region? These are all things that nobody really is sure about. And so these kinds of articles give you a bunch of here's one theory, but here's another theory. And so you get a lot of variations on these things. And a lot of these things could be possible, but nobody really knows.
And the one I really wanted to touch on here that I found was specifically in the Polish region, which obviously we know all of this based on the Polish interpretation of mythology here. So the BC, it's hard to say,
right.
Are a personification of all the unknown evil forces within nature. Specifically, which kind of makes sense. I mean, we find these things out in the wild, essentially. They are considered among the most vicious and the oldest demons within the central and eastern region of Europe. And over the years, in the process of Christianization, it has become interchangeable with the word devil. And so, again, we're getting all this devil theming around it.
Right. The Christianization of this stuff. Yeah.
So this thing is like an ancient evil spirit that's gone devil in modern times because of it.
Right. I like Toasty. I like how like these creatures, going back to this idea of them being relicts in the continent, like old monsters that are very rare now, and tying that back to this idea of this Polish concept of these beasts, the Biesy or Bies, these old evil forces in nature, that like maybe there's something there. Maybe this idea of these types of beasts, these types of creatures are like the old demons in Polish folklore. Like maybe there's some sort of connection with that.
Yeah, they're definitely terrifying in game. I'll say that much. More on it, because when you look it up, the Biesy, however you pronounce it, is actually more used to describe the fiend. At least when I was doing the search on it, I was looking for fiends, what they come from. It led me to this, which that one before was talking about the Chort. So they're kind of interchangeable here for the most part. Same thing. It said that Biesy can penetrate souls of individuals and control their physical actions, which eventually leads victims into insanity. So I'm thinking the third eye hypnotizing someone, because when you hypnotize someone, you can kind of make them do things.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, totally. Oh, Toasty's face is exploding. No, that totally makes sense. I think that there's a direct connection here between the hypnotizing and the controlling someone, causing fear and terror, all of that. And the fact that both the Chort and the Fiend physically look very similar in The Witcher. Like they are clearly derived from the same type of evil creature. Like they're of the same family.
Sometimes they're waiting in ambush around remote crossroads, which, of course, it's hard to remember every detail, but I feel like probably the first time you come across during like the main part of like the Velen storyline, I feel like you get attacked by one at a crossroads.
Oh, that's
not exactly. Yeah. It's hard to tell, but like kind of whenever you're, because I think it's whenever we're like going after the hags in Crookback Bog, and there's that part. It's not at there, but there's a different part earlier on in that storyline or quest line where you get attacked on the road somewhere while you're with like the Baron, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's specifically a crossroads, but if it is, that's a really cool like detail that they added. So waiting ambush around remote crossroads, and the travelers who see animals making unusual sounds, for example, cats crowing or roosters barking, which, to be fair, I think if you're walking down the road and a rooster starts barking at you, I think you should run regardless of what situation is going to happen there. It doesn't seem like things are going to go well there.
Yeah, that's probably a good note. Or if it's your rooster, maybe take it to the vet.
Maybe. Biesy live in primeval forests, which I feel like swamps, and deep waters, usually far from human settlements. They are believed to be guarding treasures hidden in the ground. The brave warriors who venture into their territory are warned with shrill shrieks and malicious giggles.
Oh. Maybe that has something to do with the whole like changing your perception of reality thing.
Plus, I think people just also kind of have that same idea of like when things like evil things like laugh at you. When it's like, I feel like a lot of people kind of have that same conception. And I feel like a lot of these things here kind of, I mean, we see them in forests for sure. We see them in a swamp. And yes, they're usually guarding treasures. Usually the big monsters, when you go and fight them, you get some kind of good chest with good Witcher loot in it. So
yeah. And here, I'm going to pull up the image from this website so everyone can see it too. It's kind of big,
very similar looking.
Yeah, check this out. It's very similar. A creature with big antlers, claws. This one doesn't have a third eye in the middle of its head, but it
looks like it kind of has like porcupine quills on the back.
Right.
Like
the same kind of hairy looking mane even. This one even has a tail. It's got the kind of the same kind of
it's
body.
Got like hooves in the back and claws in the front from the looks of it too. Although their hands are definitely a lot more anthropomorphized there. Like those are opposable thumbs for sure. But it's still got the same like hands in the front or something and hooves in the back. Kind
of hunched over, like arms with like back legs that are kind of more bestial. Interesting that I have to wonder if this drawing was even influential in the design of the creature in the game, because it is so similar.
I definitely Two Girls One Ship says reminds me of a Gruffalo. I definitely saw that whenever I was like looking through some of the pictures. I was like, hey. So
I think Toasty took a Gruffalo right before we had to start the recording.
Yep, I do every time. It's the only way I can get through this podcast with you, Tom.
Cool. Any other folklore mythology stuff? He kept his headphones on. If you were here for the pre-show chat, it was super awkward.
I think that's good. I think I want to get into the news, Tom. I want to get into the big news.
All right. So big news. What's the big news? I'm going to find the image.
I probably should have linked that.
Yeah, it's cool. I shared it. I'm going to pull it up. You want to tell them the big news? The big news.
Big news. So a tweet went out today announcing that the new installment of the Witcher video game series is in production.
Ta-da! It's official. They're working on it.
It is official, and it's awesome.
The Witcher, a new saga begins, and the image that they shared looks like snow on the ground with a Witcher-like symbol, a kind of
medallion for sure.
Medallion in the snow with glowy eyes. But the thing about this symbol, if you look at it very closely, is it's not a wolf.
It's not a wolf. It's not any medallion that we've ever seen before.
No,
I would state. I think this is a new school that is going to be introduced.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you were to say that this looked like anything in particular, what kind of animal?
A lynx, 100%. I thought that the moment I saw it, I was like, that's a lynx.
A lynx? You think it's a lynx? So we have people in chat chiming in. Margaret in chat says it looks like a fox. So let's describe it for our listeners. It has ears that come to a point that stick up above its head.
The key thing here specifically is if you look closely, look at the right ear. I guess it would technically be the left but on our right. Look at the point of the ear, how it's a solid color here.
It's like shaded at the tip.
It's shaded.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that's the point of the ear. I think that's the fur that comes off.
Right.
Because lynx have pointed ears, but then they have little tufts of fur that jut straight up.
So that tuft of fur looks like a slightly different color than the thicker part of the ear. Right. Yeah.
And then it's got whiskers. I definitely think it's some form of cat. I think
it's got like the top lip looks like it comes down the way like a cat's front lip does.
Yeah. And it also has like, this is like kind of like the dangly part. Like there's some like cat creatures that have like
the way the fur comes
on the
down.
side. They have like fur jowls, which is like a weird thing to say, but which, I mean, I don't know if can you find a picture of a lynx real quick?
Yeah.
Because I looked at several lynxes, and this, I think it was like the moment you see it, you'd be like, oh yeah, for sure.
I'm looking up lynx faces here. Here, I'll come up with something. But yeah, I think a lynx is probably a really good pull on this. Here, I'll find one. But yeah, we don't know. We know there's the cat school, but we don't know of a lynx School.
So about that.
Oh, we do know about Link School?
So I was looking around because I was like, the thing that I thought of was like, is there any Witcher monsters that have the appearance of a lynx? So I was kind of like Googling, Witcher lynx. So I found this. This is on the Witcher fanon wiki. So it's all fan written content. Okay. So it's not canon. It's fanon to be specific. But I have the School of the Lynx.
There's our Lynx picture, by the way.
Yeah. So let me actually.
It's just one of them. I can pull a few up, but actually, this one might be even.
If you look at, I just linked the page for you, Tom, because I want you to take a look at it. I put it on a little outline. There is so this is a fan made school. This is and from what I read about it is that it is the official, like it's a combination of what was left of the School of the Wolf and the School of the Cat, and they merged together.
Oh,
so this was founded by Lambert, Kira Metz, and Dragonfly. Which Dragonfly is the elven female witcher. We talked about her. She was a member of the Cat School. And then, of course, also Joel and Gaetan, which were also Cat Schools. So this is, basically when Lambert, Eskel, and Geralt separated after the spoiler for the Witcher 3 game, the death of Vesemir. Like they all went kind of on their own path, and Lambert went with Kira Metz because, if you do the right path and the Kira part, they can get together. And then, they met up with Dragonfly and they formed the school together.
And this is the fan art for the Lynx medallion,
which
looks pretty similar.
Pretty similar, right, Tom?
It's pretty similar. Okay, so that's that. And then I'm going to go back to the other image.
So
that's the other image. It could be inspirational for the other.
So I'm wondering if they're like CDPR is making use of this fan made, because this is a pretty detailed, cool thing. And this would be like, this is after all the events of The Witcher 3. So this is like a brand new, a new saga.
Right.
If I might steal the words directly from the ad that they posted, like this is a new generation of stuff to happen. And I'm hoping that this means specifically that this will be like a create your own Witcher game,
right?
Where you can play whatever you want.
Yeah. Okay. So a few things here. Lady Witchers, which everyone's been asking for.
And one of them, the leaders of the school are Dragonfly and Lambert. Dragonfly is specifically a female Witcher,
right?
In established canon.
Yeah. A lynx is, if you were trying to come up with an animal that's the closest thing, like halfway between a wolf and a cat. I
think it fits. It kind of is like a little bit of a halfway. It's more cat-like.
It's a wolfish cat.
Yeah. So, I'm not an expert on lynxes, but maybe they have pretty similar, like maybe they have similarities that you find in between.
Yeah. But I think this makes a lot of sense. I also know that there are a lot of female Witcher fans, and in fact, some of my closest friends, a couple that were like are two of my closest friends. I've been friends with him. There's he and she, and they're married, and I've been friends with him since I was in high school. And he, like, The Witcher 3 is like his favorite game, but his wife hadn't played it yet, and he was trying to get her to play it, and she was like, "Oh, bummer, I have to be this dude in this game. I want to play as a woman because I like to play RPGs, but I always want to play as a character that's more like me." And then he talked her into it, and he was like, "Dude, keep playing it. It's one of the best games I've ever played. At some points you do get to play as a female because you get to play as Ciri. So like there is variety in it. It's a great game. You're still going to love it." But he really had to talk her into it because she couldn't get to design a character, or at least be a female character, and she was kind of bummed out about that. And I totally get that. There's a lot to say about an RPG where you get to be a character or design a character that you can kind of put yourself into, because so many games people want to put themselves into the game. I mean, that's one of the first things I do a lot of times is I'll try to design a character that looks like me, you know?
And this is, I think this would also be, if they do this, like if they actually go with some of the stuff that actually lines up with this School of the Lynx, like if they're pulling it and it's a combination of the wolf and the cat school is the one with the female witchers, because they have perfected the mutagen process, and they were able to basically expose anyone to it, and they would come through with a much higher chance of success because they had figured it out. Right. And so if they pull it, it's part of the whoever Dragonfly can take the mutagens with her and start using that. And so it would make even sense in lore for a reasoning behind having female witchers start becoming like popping up.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about this before, so go back and listen to our episode about the School of the Cat, because we talk about that. Also, there is an image here in the wiki of somebody had done a sketch of Dragonfly. I don't know if this comes from one of the R. Telsorian books or something. I don't know the source of it, but I thought I'd pull this in here because I'm sure a lot of people are like, okay, who's this Dragonfly character? We should probably do an episode on her because awesome. But this is Dragonfly. So here she is. So pretty cool, badass female witcher.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Elf too.
She's elven too. Yeah. That was like crazy. She's elven and female. So it's like, kind of like a first of a bunch of things. And this is just a little thing. Obviously none of this is like actually like canon information, at least no confirmation on it yet, though I think the chances of some of this being maybe, because, you know, it doesn't seem like coincidence that I'm able to look up links in The Witcher and come up with this whole thing. And there's a Witcher medallion on the poster for the game that looks exactly like a Lynx, but there is several Witcheresses in this school that they state, which I'm going to list them off just because I think it's fun. We got Dragonfly, obviously, Hilda, Rona, which hits different in 2022, Tempest, Isabel of Toussaint, and Moza of Verdun. And then they have some mages on their docket here, which I think is cool. Yeah. And there's also an interesting name here for the Witchers, the males, that I was like, we got Chireadin of New Sintra.
New Sintra. Interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But so we'll see.
And Frank.
But we talked about Frank. Frank was in it. We mentioned Frank.
Frank.
It also says Schrodinger, which we've talked about Schrodinger because that was funny too. Yeah. So yeah. So there's some names in here that we've seen before. But I'm like, man. So, I mean, obviously cool. This is all like this post is all fan based. Our comments on this are all speculation. But so don't take anything we say to the bank, but also coincidence. Yeah. So I don't know. I think that there's a high probability in my mind that one, we're going to get the ability to create a Witcher in the next Witcher game. Which I think that's what probably everyone wants. Like, I think that's what I think that'll bring a larger amount of players to the player base. Right. Compared to like the amount that there already is, which is like an insane number. Sure. But like they could bring even more, because for that specific reason, like you said, like some people want to play as themselves, and only being Geralt really does put a limit on being yourself in the game. Right. And they've learned a ton from doing Cyberpunk as a studio and a game developer. So, and people complain that there wasn't enough like diversity in it.
Right.
And there was already like, it was a ton of options, but it still wasn't enough for us.
Right. So they are very, very much learning what it's like to be an RPG game studio in the lineage in the spirit of a game developer like Bethesda, because that's the trajectory they're going on. They started as an RPG studio in the lineage of something like BioWare, where they were taking a main character in something like Knights of the Old Republic or Mass Effect, where you had a character who had a story and you were kind of choosing your options through that story. And they've been working their way towards games that are much more open in the way the story plays out and the world kind of engages with you. And you can see that in the way the fan base has engaged with Cyberpunk, in that they want a world where you can just live in. And the way that the world has been updated in Cyberpunk, like with the new patches and the things the community wants, like in the new patch, for those of you who haven't stayed up to date with the stuff that's been changed in Cyberpunk, you have the ability now to buy different apartments, and the quest lines are much more laid out in a different kind of way, where you just kind of can just live in the world a little bit more. And you can change the way your character looks even after the initial opening of the game. Like a lot of the things that the community wants are these options that allow them to just be in that world and just do stuff in that world. And I think that's where we're going to see The Witcher go, is that people just want to be in the world of The Witcher. Mm-hmm. So I think what we're going to see is a game that's a lot more open to, going and hunting monsters. There's going to be a storyline, but it's going to be a lot more open than maybe something like The Witcher 3, where in The Witcher 3, you're going to have to get through the storyline again, right? Like if you go play through the game again, you're still going to have to do the Baron quests. You're still going to have to do like all the same quest lines. Like the layout of going to the freaking Baron's place, you're still gonna have to run all the way through through that village, all the way to the back of the place every single freaking time. You know what I'm saying? Like that is not convenience layout for you to be able to have to go through that freaking mission every single time you have to go turn in a mission thing, right? Mm-hmm. Like they're learning these things as they go. And
they even said there, which the other news that we know is that this is going to be on Unreal Engine 5, and that they are doing this for the specific purpose of making it a better running open world game.
Yes. Yeah. So have you guys seen Unreal 5? Do you know much about Unreal 5?
I didn't until I was like, what games are on it? It was like, apparently not many as of right now.
Unreal 5 was revealed in 2020, in May of 2020. So about 2 years ago, Unreal Engine 5 was revealed. Unreal Engine 4 was one. There's a few game engines that a lot of game developers will buy the rights to develop their games on. And some game developers or publishers will actually develop their own game engines. So CD Projekt Red has been using their own Red engine or whatever it's called. But it costs a lot to develop your own game engine. So a lot of game developers will basically pay to have the rights to use a game engine like the Unreal Engine. So something like Fortnite is done by Epic Games, who also develop the Unreal Engine. So they have direct access to it, right? But a lot of developers use the Unreal Engine, or they'll use the Unity engine or something like that. But the Unreal Engine has a lot of money behind it because it's Epic Games. It's Fortnite. It's a bunch of these other games that have done really well. So in the last few years that Unreal Engine 4 has moved to Unreal Engine 5, they've made some really crazy updates with the kinds of things the engine can do. So we're talking like lighting updates and texture updates and the streaming of information from your hard drive to the graphics card, all of this stuff. So if you guys remember when the new Matrix movie came out over the holidays, there was a game demo that came out that you could download on your new consoles. And the quality of the graphics in that were running in real time on new current gen consoles, but the graphics look freaking amazing. That's the kind of stuff that Unreal Engine 5 can do on current generation consoles now. So imagine that this game is now in development, which means maybe we'll see it in 3 years, 4 years when it comes out, because it takes that long to develop a game. And that stuff we might start seeing updates to consoles or the next gen of consoles coming out. And we'll also be seeing like people really, really eking out all the best, updates to those consoles and that kind of stuff, and PC hardware, the quality of the graphics and the quality of the physics and all the stuff that this game is going to be able to do, it's going to be phenomenal. Like the way the monsters look, and oh my God.
I mean, is this seeing like a bunch of like, because I looked it up because I hadn't really seen anything about it, and I saw it was like a whole bunch of games that are like haven't been released that are going to be on Unreal Engine 5, like the Redfall game we saw during like the Xbox or Bethesda showcase or whatever. A bunch of other ones that like don't even have release dates or anything to be announced, just like a couple pictures. And then there's even like says that games that are rumored to be using it, but they haven't been confirmed yet. Mass Effect 4, the new BioShock, Outer Worlds 2, and State of Decay 3, all rumored to be using it, which I have to imagine, I mean, for like Mass Effect 4, I mean, that game's going to probably look incredible, right? So like, these games are going to be, whew. Yeah,
this is going to be like the next level of game quality stuff. Like the stuff that's coming out on Unreal Engine 5 is going to be things that you're going to look at like twice.
The realistic stuff,
right?
Like some of these games, you're going to look at it and you're going to be like, that's like almost a movie, like looking at the
absolutely people. Yeah, there will be moments where you walk by and somebody will be playing something, and for a moment you'll be like, wait, is that pre-rendered or is that the game? You just won't be sure right away, and then you'll look at it for a second and be like, okay, I think that's the game.
So
you won't be sure right away. It'll take you a moment. So pretty cool. But that's the big news, and man, I'd love to talk with our patrons about this next week. So if you guys want to chat with us about your thoughts, about your hopes for the next game, about what you think maybe the Lynx school is, if you think it is the Lynx school, how you think they're going to continue the storyline, where you think this is going to go after the events of The Witcher 3, like what else is there to say? Where's the story going to go? I'm sure there's going to be political intrigue. I'm sure there's going to be stuff going on with the Witchers. What
new monsters, maybe
monsters show up. What's going on with like Geralt and
new locations?
Ciri? Are we going to see anything happening with them? Which is the canon ending?
Yeah,
is it the good
What's
ending?
The canon ending? What are we going to see from like all the different choices that we made? Like, so who knows if it's like, it's probably not, but it'd be a cool thing if like maybe you could like port your Witcher 3.
Oh my God.
Like the choices you made in Witcher 3.
Oh my God.
Determine how this, like the events that happen in Witcher.
How angry 4. Kira Metz is with Geralt.
If Kira Metz is dead. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen.
No.
But
man,
this would be cool. But yeah, so
if it's not the good ending, then what the hell, man? Yeah, totally.
I don't think it's gonna be the good ending.
I got the good ending.
I don't. No.
Oh, you don't think the canon ending is the good ending?
I think the canon ending is it's The Witcher, dude. Like if anything, it's probably the melancholy ending.
Oh man. Oh, dude, that'd be rough.
The melancholy ending, unless like they really fuck with us and it's the bad ending. Like
it could be.
That'd be terrible. But who knows?
My God. Or what if Ciri ends up in charge of the Empire?
That's not the bad ending, though.
But what if she does?
I feel like that's probably the route that it would go.
But I know, but what if she like, that's weird. That's super weird. Dude. That's so weird. Okay. Let's settle the interest debate. Oh man, so much we can just start the episode right now. Actually, we don't have time. We have to do the Mass Effect Lorecast coming up next. But man, this has been awesome. Super excited about the news. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode, and we'll be back next week with our patrons. Toasty, you got anything else you want to share before we head out?
And just follow us at the Witcher Lorecast on Twitter, and I guess stay tuned for future episodes as we find out more information for this stuff, because I mean, we're just going to get more news in the future, and we can guarantee that we're going to talk about it.
Absolutely.
Like, I was so excited to talk about it. I had trouble putting the stuff for Fiends and Chorts on the paper because I was just like, I just want to talk about the stuff I found.
Yeah.
When I get my corkboard out, that's just how it is.
That's true. Yeah. We'll be tying some more string to the corkboard. And let's see. I've got all my stuff. The Lord of the Rings Lorecast had a new episode drop today. 4 episodes in. Everyone's been super positive and awesome about it. So thank you for tuning into that show. And I've been streaming more during the days again, been playing some games. Dude, so Fortnite, I played some Fortnite. Toasty, you were there. Mm-hmm. They got rid of some of the building, which means that now it's a game where you just have to worry about shooting other people. And get this. You want to know how good I am at Fortnite now?
I don't care.
I think some people care, right? Do you guys care? You want to hear? So I haven't played Fortnite except for like 2 rounds, like years ago when it came out. I jumped back in. Get this. 8 consecutive wins. I'm the best Fortnite player ever. Best ever. I'm better than Ninja. 8 consecutive first place wins. I don't know what's wrong with people. They can't play the game if they can't build. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, and my 11-year-old teaching me everything.
That was where the skill was put. Nobody actually.
Nobody actually shoots anybody.
Nobody actually dedicated skill to shooting. I feel like it's not that difficult to aim in that game, to be honest.
Right. Well, then why can't they shoot when there's no building?
I don't know, because they're used to doing the building. They're used to building right then and there. They don't think to shoot first.
No,
that's the thing.
My son and my son's 11. He was teaching me how to I'm like, okay, I picked up a fish. What's the fish do? I'm like, what is this crazy thing? How does this thing work? And so we were just knocking out the quests and stuff. And it was I was like, now we got to run over here. And I'm like, there's 3 more guys that showed up. And we were just dropping people as we're just trying to knock out quests. It was hilarious. We had so much fun. So yeah, Fortnite's great now that there's no building, because the building's the worst part. And now we've just lost half of our listeners. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
It's fine. This is the end of the episode.
This is the end of the episode.
They can get out of here anyway.
Everyone's already tuned out anyway. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back next week. And if you'd like to come hang out with me while I stream during the days or in the evenings, Robots Radio on Twitch or YouTube or Facebook even, if you like hanging out on Facebook. And Mass Effect Lorecast is coming up next, so stay tuned. I'll be back in about 30 minutes or so. Actually, I'll probably put up a little music and go away for a little bit and be back when the next show's ready. So thanks for being here. I'll see you guys next time. And until then,
stay safe on the path.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning into the Witcher Lorecast. We'd love to hear about your experiences with the games and the books and the TV series and all your thoughts on everything. Please check out the Robots Radio Discord and follow us on Twitter at Witcher Lorecast.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.